Good afternoon, everyone. This is Christian with PerfectStockAlert.com, a 100% free service for smart investors and traders. All we ask in return, please refer a friend. Today is Wednesday. It's February the 15th, 2012. We're going to look at a few charts today. Here in the U.S., we saw the Dow Jones Industrial Average is off about 97 points. That's actually off of its low. It was down over more than 100 points earlier in the day. The reasons are quite simple. Greece sucks, and no sooner than you finish reading one news article on Greece, more news comes out stating the exact opposite. So basically, they're back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We might default, we might not, we might not. Reality is, they have not done anything they were supposed to have done to begin with, and it's looking more and more like they're just, taking a free lunch, and they're really not going to get around to actually doing what they're supposed to do. And I don't expect anything different. I think ultimately they will default. We're looking at the U.S. markets here. We've got multiple things. We have the Greece issue, we have Fed statements, we have hit and resistance levels on major markets on the bigger chart pictures. So when looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we've been out of this from a long perspective since this break of the uptrend line. From that point, she rolled up and then rolled back down. I'm still not interested in being long this chart in any way, shape, or form. You'll also notice that you are, let me clean that up a little bit. You'll also notice that you have the conditions here, showing a high point here, a lower high here, trending down, and not as dramatic right here. And you're looking at the close, it's very slight. So there's just no momentum to the upside at this point. You need to consolidate here. So I would not be touching this in the long. Even though you've had a pullback, I wouldn't try to be a buyer. Okay, for those of you guys who do not know, we keep all these major market charts on our free website at PerfectStockAlert.com. It's right there. You can go there and check them out anytime you want. They're under the chart notes section, and they're updated every single day. If we see a trade opportunity, we'll mark it. In this case, we're looking at the long side. You could be a buyer of gold here at the close or lower. With the stop off of this low point here, we like this from a long side perspective. You've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consecutive days to the downside. Now you've had a move to the upside. Note the higher high compared to this point right next to it, and the higher low. It's telling you you're seeing a shift where you're no longer seeing sell pressure capable of driving new lows, and now you're seeing buy pressure capable of making higher highs. So you can see the decrease of one pressure and the increase of another, and that tells you to look for a move to the upside again in gold. Something else we've talked about in the past, hey, look at this close point here, high close here. You broke out of that point. When you do that, that was a resistance point. Let me draw it out real quick. This was resistance over here for a while, actually back here as well. It was a resistance point. You broke out of it when you closed above it. Therefore, that resistance is now actually a technical support. Even though it's not a major support, it's a minor support, and therefore that's not really resistance anymore. So this little move here can jump right up above that line really easy and then just hover right there and consolidate like we're seeing in silver. So this is an easy trade in my opinion. Alright, a quick recap of Japan's fiasco here. We have had this move going on for a while. You'll notice that you had this bearish divergence forming here, telling you this move to the upside was not likely sustainable. Then you got a breakdown here, a lower low. Then we saw a move to the upside here, making a lower high, then rolling over again. And that's when we said, okay, you can start shorting there with this as your stop. Well, before you can even get into that trade, news of Greece and all that's been the driving force here. And overnight, this jumps up way up here above the previous stop point, so you wouldn't have actually initiated this trade. It would have stopped you out if you attempted to anyway. And another thing to point out here is if this is Greece driven, right after their markets closed, more news came out of Greece that there's less likely to they're more likely to default, basically. So there's not going to be a sustaining ability behind this move here if it was Europe initiated. So I'm not bullish, of course, in this situation. All I have here is a higher high and a lower low, so ultimately the pattern is sideways, not higher. So right now I'm just looking at this saying I wouldn't be a buyer here if you see this higher high in Japan and you're getting all bullish. Don't be doing that. You're closed up above the upper Bollinger Band line. You're overextended. Your support's way down here. Don't chase it. Quick glance here at the NASDAQ while I'm passing on by. You will notice that the NASDAQ has had a major move to the upside here. Nice respect of this uptrend here, and now we've pulled back down to it. Keep an eye on this. If we break this tomorrow, I would no longer be any kind of interested in a long position in the U.S. markets. I don't think you have anything left to trade on the long side. Remember, like I just showed you with the Dow Jones at the start of this video, once they break the major uptrend line, they may try to force a little bit higher, but they're not really going to have the support that you're looking for, their strength, the momentum, etc., etc. And it ends up just being a rolling over pattern that you don't want to get caught in. So if she breaks the support line here, be done with it. The Russell 2000 Small Cap Index has also broken the major uptrend line. With that in mind, I would not be long this at any time right now. You need to see a completely new setup, something that you can actually trade right now. You don't want to be long. For those of you who would have been buying the VIX, when we were talking about this pullback right here being, well, any pullback you got back here being a buying opportunity, we gave you a couple of days to be a buyer there. You are making money now, good for you. Advance your stop, limit your losses by, obtaining a minimum gain if she does pull back on you, but I would stay with it to the long side. Which, let me clarify, would of course mean I would be betting against the overall markets because the VIX runs the opposite or the inverse of the S&P 500, okay? If you've not been to our free website at perfectstockalert.com, then you're going to lose your place in heaven. I don't know. Maybe not. Probably not. But either way, you should go there. It's free, and we like it. All right. God bless. Take care. See you tomorrow.
Please take a moment to review our disclaimer. The information provided herein is our opinion only. Under no circumstances do any statements here represent a recommendation to buy or sell securities or make any kind of an investment. You are responsible for your own due diligence. To summarize, we do not provide investment advice, nor do we make any claims or promises that any information here will lead to a profit, loss, or any other result. These videos are for educational purposes only.